what's up guys? Zombie JLT1 here, your supernatural gamer. I got another retrospective Super Nintendo lot for you guys to check out. I had posted pictures about this on Twitter, and I got a few messages from people saying that they really couldn't see what was in the lot, and for that I apologize because my phone is not that great, but it's all I've got. So I will definitely try harder to get better equipment so that you guys can get better quality on pictures, on videos, and hopefully streaming in the future, because I owe it to you guys to give you guys quality for being longtime subscribers on both my YouTube and Twitter. So here's to hoping I can definitely bring you the quality that you guys like and deserve. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the lot. I got my late night gaming crew here. We got my Bowsers, my Boo, I got Mohawk from Gremlins, and of course my Boglin over here. These guys are always cool to late night game with because, as some of you know, I work late nights. So nice that I have some company. Anyway, so this was a lot that I bought off of Craigslist. And when I contacted the seller about it, I couldn't believe what was in the picture, because there's no way that one of my sought-after Holy Grails was in this lot. He offered me a very, very fair deal on it, and in many cases I feel like I robbed him in a way, but he was happy with the price. He didn't ask for more, and so let me show you what's included with that. First, we have a Super Nintendo system. I have one already. I still have my original launch Super Nintendo, but this was part of the lot, and I took the honor of restoring this for the guy who sold it to me, and I'll get into that in just a little bit later. First, we have some loose games, but loose in the sense that they have their manuals at least with them. We got Jurassic Park, which I've taken the liberty of putting in one of my Super Nintendo cases. We also have Donkey Kong Country 2, another great game I did not have. I should stress that a majority of these titles I did not have at all. So that's also part of the coolness factor of picking up this lot. We have a loose copy of Space Invaders. I plan on getting the box and manual for this one, just like I plan on getting the box for Donkey Kong Country 2 and Jurassic Park. Not a bad game, and plus I'm a Space Invaders fan. Alright, let's knock out the titles I'll probably more than likely not play, and if you saw my last video, you'll know exactly what those are. And that's sports titles. We got NBA Live 96, complete in box. I've gone ahead and put protective cases on all of these as well. I just gotta find a place to store them all. Again, not a big sports player fan. If it's NBA Jam, I'm there, but not a big fan of the NBA, NFL endorsed games, but still needed it for collection, and these are all well conditioned. NHL 95. If you watched my previous video, you know I prefer the Genesis version over this one. Still not a bad game, but the Genesis one is always going to hit home with me. Alright, we got Brunswick World Tournament Champions. I think this is one of the games that doesn't have the manual. I'm not really sure, because I know some of these didn't come with one. But either way, again, quality in the box and the cartridges are excellent. And even though I'm not a bowling fan, still nice to have this in the collection. This one I did play before, back when Super Nintendo was in, and that's the Boxing Legends of the Ring boxing game, along with, I believe it was Chavez Boxing that I had on Super Nintendo, or Riddick Bowe Boxing. I know I played that one for sure. This one's not bad, but if I have my choice of boxing games, Super Punch-Out all the way. Alright, so next we got Super Pinball Behind the Mask. Again, another one of those games that I don't remember if it actually has the manual. Not a bad pinball game, but I'd rather play pinball in the real arcades than on a home console. Alright, we got Wario's Woods, complete in box. I had a loose copy of this, and now that I have the complete version, I'm probably going to put the loose copy up for sale or trade. I know someone who's interested in that, so it may not be there, but in the event that this person doesn't want it after all, I'll let you know. Not a bad puzzle game. It's kind of like Yoshi's Cookie, where not as good as Tetris or Dr. Mario, but still not a bad game either. Alright, we got Ms. Pac-Man on Super Nintendo. I don't have the manual for this, so this is one I'm going to have to hunt down. This was the game out of the whole lot that needed some top-to-bottom restoration in terms of what's in the box, because it was one of the games that didn't come with an original gaming tray or the original dust cover. But recently I was able to get a hold of a lot on eBay that were all authentic NES dust covers. So I went ahead, cleaned all those up, slapped it on there along with a few of the other games that didn't have one. And as you can see, the label and everything is pretty flawless. It even has the original wrapper still. So that was a huge plus. But here's what I meant by it didn't have the original insert tray. I ordered these off of Amazon, and they came with some Super Nintendo box protectors as well. Not a bad deal for what I got. They are a little clunky to work with because it takes some finessing them to get the shape and the 3-dimension to pop out, but not bad. And it adds to the stability of the box, which if you are a CIB collector like I am, you'll definitely want to keep the integrity as much as possible. Alright, here's where we really start to take off with the lot. We have box copy of Super Punch-Out. Sorry, that glare from the light there. I have my childhood copy, so this is a copy that is going to be going to another fan, YouTuber, what have you, and I can't recommend this game enough on the Super Nintendo. It's still one of my favorites, along with the original Punch-Out. I honestly don't think I have ever not liked a Punch-Out entry, to be honest. So if you've never played it, definitely give it a try. It's still kind of cheap last time I checked, but it is starting to go up in price. But definitely give it a try because it's worth playing. Alright, next we got, y'all know I love this game, Primal Rage, Super Nintendo. This is actually a very pristine copy. It's a lot better than the box that I have on my original, so I may hold on to this and retire my old box. And by retire, I mean put it in storage, keep it in a plastic case so that it doesn't get ruined, and probably display this one if I don't display them both. I'm really limited on space right now, so if I have to, I think I will shelve this one and store away my original box just because it's really beat up and I'd hate for that to completely fall apart. So, but again, not a bad find at all. Really happy to have that in there. We've got Dragon View on the Super Nintendo. This is one of the games that doesn't have the manual, so I will definitely have to track that down. But original box, the cartridge looks phenomenal. Just, I mean, this is a very pricey game loose, so having it in the box and everything is really awesome. Like I said, just need the manual. It's not a bad RPG, and it's one that I probably would have played a lot more back in the day if I had access to it. There's another RPG in this lot that I'm sure a lot of you will recognize, but this one is one that I'm kind of disappointed fell under the radar because I actually thought it was pretty good. Alright, we've got Breath of Fire. I played this. I didn't own it for very long because I actually bought it at one point and I sold it. Kind of regret that. This is a complete in-box copy, which makes it even better. I did have to replace the tray and give it a dust cover, but I mean, the original boxing manual, can't go wrong with that. It's a really good RPG. I love the fact that one of the playable characters is in fact a werewolf. But it's a title, or a series I should say, that most people know about and most people have probably forgotten about unless you played it or grew up with it in the day. It's one I think that could use a remake nowadays, just because I thought the story and some of the sequels were pretty good. Alright, next we've got a couple of Player's Choice versions of games. I actually have the originals, but I don't have the Player's Choice. We'll go ahead and start with this pristine copy of Mario Paint. I have my childhood copy when it first came out, and I remember getting that at a KB toy store for about 60 bucks. My mom actually took me to a mall somewhere near her work, and she's like, I know you really want it, you haven't asked for anything in forever, let's go get it for you. And I spent that whole summer learning how to animate, playing the music and creating my own musical pieces. I actually enjoyed that more than the drawing aspect. I still have my original copy, but it's so bad. It definitely could use reinforcement, but it's still a game I still play, and I love to show that one off because it's a childhood original. But I don't have the Player's Choice Million Seller Edition, so this is going to make a great display piece. It's in way better condition. I just got to get a box cover for it, and I remember I bought one off eBay for not too bad of a price, so I'll definitely have to protect that one. We have Super Star Wars, complete in box. Despite how difficult this series is, I am still a hardcore fan of it. I remember I used to rent these from the local video store, rent them on a Sunday, don't have to bring them back till Tuesday because they were closed on Mondays. That's how you got through difficult games like this. You persevered. No save states, no nothing. So I definitely can add a little bit of bragging right, I'm not going to deny that, to beating all three of the Star Wars games. They are still fun. I think they hold up even to this day. But brace yourself, because if you've never played these, they are going to get really frustrating really quick. But they are not horrible games, so don't misconstrue that. Alright. Super Metroid Player's Choice Edition. Complete in box. This thing looks beautiful. This game, I got my original copy at Toys R Us, still have it. I can't stress enough how this is probably my favorite Super Nintendo game of all time. It's definitely on my top 10 list, along with the Mega Man X games and a few others. But I've been a Metroid fan since the first one came out. Actually, the first NES Metroid game. I still have my childhood copy on the shelf. That was the second NES game I ever got. And I got a little story about that one, but I can tell you about that at a later time. Everything in this is flawless. The manual, the tray, the game label, the cartridge, everything. So having both versions for a Metroid fan like me, it's awesome. I can't describe that enough. Link to the Past, Player's Choice Edition. The only downside to this one, if you can call it a downside, is, I'm trying to get that glare out of the way, is that it doesn't have the map. And I know sometimes with games like this and Chrono Trigger, the map is probably the most difficult and sometimes the most expensive thing to find. So I'm going to have a fun time tracking that down. I do have it for my original box copy of Link to the Past, but I didn't have it with this one. So I'm definitely going to have to keep an eye out for that, along with the other manuals I need to look for. So with the Super Nintendo, they didn't include the original SNES controllers, but they did include these licensed Super Pads. These are actually controllers licensed by Nintendo that they have their seal of approval on. And I had one of these a long time ago, and I wore the hell out of it because I used it more than my original controller. The button design and the curvature makes it easy to slide back and forth. It does feel a little bit bulkier than the original Super Nintendo controllers, but that could just be me. I like playing my fighting games on this because I can just slide back and forth between the buttons and not have to worry about jamming my finger or anything like that. And there were 7 of these included, actually. So a couple of these may be available on this trade board that I keep talking about and haven't built yet. I admit that. And some of these I am keeping. One does need to be repaired, but all I have to do really is get the replacement rubber button grips on the bottom, and it should be flawless after that. So here's where the icing of the cake of the lot comes in. This is what drew me to it in the first place. This was a holy grail of mine that I could not believe I was looking at. So when I contacted the seller, I had to double check. I had to make sure this was a game that was included. And he said, yep, it's here. Everything is going to be sold for this and this price. If you're available today, we can make some kind of arrangement and you can come take a look. And after thinking about it, because I was still in shock when I went down there to go pick this lot up, I brought my tools with me because part of me was saying, if he's nice or if you ask nice enough, maybe you can pry open the shell and take a look at the board, make sure everything is authentic, what have you. So I went there, really nice older gentleman, shows me the box that had all these great games in there, and the first thing I went for, Castlevania Dracula X, baby. I finally have this sought after grail of mine in box, mint cartridge, everything is included but the manual, but that did not matter to me because I have not seen this game in a box in over 20 years. When I last saw it at a KB's and I couldn't buy it. I haven't seen this cartridge loose in decades. So I damn near fainted when I saw this, and I don't know, I had a good feeling, you know. I didn't want to sit there and say, you know what, can I pry this cartridge over or open and take a look at what's inside? I didn't want to do that. I feel like that was well timed. I feel like once I saw the lot and saw this game specifically, I just had that gut feeling that everything was authentic. So I talked to the guy some more, and he told me that this collection actually belonged to his brother-in-law. Whether or not his brother-in-law had passed recently or if they're just not on talking terms or what have you, I didn't know and I didn't want to pry. But he said it belonged to his brother-in-law, and his brother-in-law was a collector. And then it all made sense why all these games were in such pristine condition. So I asked him again for the price, and I said, are you sure you don't want more than this? And he goes, no, I'm completely fine with that. He did mention that he had a Game Boy collection at one point that belonged to his brother-in-law, but he sold it to GameStop. I died inside a little bit of all the places to sell it to, you know. And I told him, you know, it's a shame I didn't know about that because I would have offered you a deal on all of that and this Super Nintendo lot. But, you know, like I said, genuinely nice guy, was just happy that it was going to a collector and somebody who was going to appreciate it and preserve it. Because I did tell him, I'm in restoration, and part of what I do is I collect, but I also want to be able to have some sort of little gaming museum. You may have heard John Hancock talk about that. I definitely would like to have something of that myself out here because we don't really have anything like that. And I love to have conversations about random gaming pieces as it is, so this was just going to make even better conversation. And I told him that this was like a childhood game that I had wanted forever, and he kind of laughed and he says, well, I'm glad I could help fulfill that goal of yours. And I appreciated that, and I told him I'm glad I could help you out financially if that's what you needed this for or anything. And we just kind of went on our way. And the funny thing about this is we had to go to work, my girlfriend and I. And when I told her about this, she's like, no, let's get there. Because the fact that it's been up for 2 weeks and nobody has bought this yet, we can't afford to miss out on that. So she gunned me all the way down to where this guy lived, which was pretty far from where we live and where we work. Made it there, made the transaction, and then we sped all the way back to work and actually took this into my office. And I was still in awe. I actually teared up a little bit holding this because I pried the cartridge open and verified the boards on every single game. Everything was authentic. I couldn't believe it. And to this day, I still get kind of choked up about it. I mean, I'm sure all you collectors out there have moments like that, whether it's collecting your favorite video games or toys or movies or records, what have you. You just have those moments, those very impactful moments when you feel like you've worked hard for something or you've waited a very long time for something. You know what I mean? So that's why I call this probably the best lot of the year. Now, will it be topped? I have no idea. I'm just glad to have these pieces in my collection and that I can show you guys and offer a little bit of encouragement if you're not finding anything in your respective areas. Don't lose the faith, because I'm holding a game that I've had to wait 20 plus years to hold on to and actually play and display. It's in box. If I can get the manual, even better. I'm just grateful to have the cart. And when I read posts about not being able to find things in areas, and when I talk to some of you in the various streams or on Twitter or Facebook, and you guys kind of share those moments with me, my first impulse is to just scream out, don't lose the faith, guys. This is a hobby that does take some time and does take some effort, but it really pays off in the end. I mean, it did for me. It has been for some time. I know it's tough, but I always encourage everybody to keep an open mind and just keep looking. In fact, part of the reason why I started spreading hashtag gamers helping gamers, hashtag gamers supporting gamers, is because I want you guys to know that as long as I'm a collector and as long as I know any of you, I am always here to help with whatever you're searching for. Whether it's something that I have or come across in the wild or is even a part of a lot that I purchase. As long as I don't have it myself and I'm not looking for it, I'm here to help you guys out. And I'm sure the feeling is mutual, so I don't want anybody to think that because I'm making a video that I'm not genuinely about that, because I totally am. In fact, that's part of the reason why I am the self-proclaimed gaming beautician, because if you guys come across carts that just look horrible, but you've waited a long time just to be able to get a copy, I want to be able to demonstrate that it is possible to make those cartridges look great again. It is possible to be proud of what you have and display them. And I want to be able to offer that to you, along with the hope and support for all of you out there who are collectors of any type of media, toys, or what have you. Just keep the faith, Keep holding on to the idea that maybe someday you'll find something. It may not be stadium events, it may not be Little Samson, it may not be any of those holy grails on whatever system you're looking for. Just keep the faith that you'll find something, because you never know. You might pick up a box one day, see a bunch of random titles that are pretty common, and beneath them will be buried some of the most expensive and sought after games, because that's what happened with me last year in my Sega Genesis lot. So with that being said, guys, I wish you all the best of luck when it comes to your game collecting. Feel free to message me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, with any questions you may have, whether it's related to game hunting, game restoration. I'm here for you guys. In the same way that you're here watching my long-winded videos and probably having those thoughts of, oh, he's just showing off his collection. That's not what I'm really about. I'm here to show you guys tales of inspiration and faith. As a game collector since childhood, I haven't given up on that. I am still holding on to goals outside of video gaming, like I want a G1 Soundwave figure. I want a G1 Jetfire figure. You know, things like that. So, if there's anything you can take away from watching my videos, it's know that I'm here for you, and there's a knock on my door, so someone's here for me, and keep the faith. So until then, Zombie JLT1, your supernatural gamer, signing off.